Hey, so I was having a meditation this morning as I was reading, and there was a specific phrase that just stuck out to me, and I began to really think about that thing and just kind of try to develop somewhat of a thought. And I'm in Genesis 39, and many people know about Joseph, the story about Joseph, and just all that he went through. And there's a phrase right there in verse, what is it, 3? No, 2. It says, "And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man." And I got stuck on that portion of the verse, and it does continue to say, "And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian." I got stuck on that verse. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. And you think about, well, the thought was, I wonder if Joseph thought, the Lord is with me. I wonder if Joseph had that same thought. I don't know for sure. I wasn't there to ask him that question. But I began to think about his story a little bit, about how he did have favor of his father. He had these dreams of God and, that were foretelling of what was going to happen. But his brothers hated him, right? They decided that they didn't like him. They plotted against him, and then they sold him, right, to the Ishmaelites, and then they sold him to Potiphar as a slave. All these bad things had happened to him, and he wasn't the cause of any of them. He hadn't done anything to deserve this treatment. He hadn't done anything at all. And so again, did he feel like the Lord was with him in all this? I don't know. Let's talk through it a little bit. If you read the verses after all this happened, it says that when he was bought by Potiphar, it said that Potiphar recognized, okay? So let's look at the fact that other people recognized that the Lord was with him. I don't know if he recognized it. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But it said Potiphar, his master, saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. So then we have this other person who, and he may have not even known all that happened, or maybe he did, I don't know. But he recognized that Joseph was being blessed, was being cared for, was receiving it. In fact, it says that he received grace in his master's sight. He realized that God's grace was with Joseph, even though he was a slave. This man, Joseph, he was a slave, yet he was given a position of authority in this man's house. Very interesting. If you keep reading, you go to the next part, because of course, then again, he's betrayed again, right? It's like he was betrayed again by Potiphar's wife. She decided that, oh yeah, he is favorable. I like him. And so she wanted to lay with him, and he refused it. And then she accused him of trying to harm her, trying to rape her, lay with her. And he fled. He didn't really even, that we see, he didn't even really defend himself. He just ran away. And of course, Potiphar was angry, and he put him in the prison, right? And then you have the prison keeper, the keeper of the prison. And again, it said that he recognized that the Lord was with Joseph. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And then he committed all those things unto Joseph. So here's two people, okay? So Joseph, he was hated, plotted against, sold, bought, became a slave, lied against again, betrayed, put in prison. All these things that he didn't deserve. He didn't deserve them. He didn't do anything to warrant this stuff that happened. But yet, the Lord was with him in the midst of all this. And then there was people recognizing that the Lord was with him, that he was blessed, that he had grace, that he had favor, that he had mercy with these people. Did Joseph feel favored? That's the whole point of this. Did he feel like the Lord was with him? What was his feelings about this? I'm not sure. I can't say. Here's what I do know. It happened to him, it happened to Christ, and it's probably happened to several of us. People will turn against us, sometimes even family, those you love the most. People will lie about you and on you for their benefit. They don't want to look bad, so they'll come up with something that will make them to look like what they're doing is warranted and okay. And then people will punish you for things you didn't do or commit. But you have to deal with this day in and day out. He had to wake up at this point, know that he was betrayed, know that he was a slave, know that he was a prisoner, over and over and over. I wonder if he felt like the Lord was with him. I don't know, but here's what I can tell you. When you read chapter 39, of course you can read further into it, but here's what Joseph did. He kept on going on in his life. He didn't quit. He didn't give up. He didn't try to get out of it. He just continued going on in his life. And he also continued going on in obedience towards God. Because he could have got angry. He could have fought this. He could have laid with Potiphar's wife. He could have done a lot of things. But he didn't. He kept on going on in his life regardless of the circumstances and what the other people done to him. He kept on going on in obedience regardless to what benefit he could have had. He did get benefit from Potiphar, but he could have had more from his wife. He kept on going on. And then lastly, he kept on going on in spite of all the betrayal. He went on in his life, went on with God, and went on in spite of that betrayal. Because it doesn't really benefit any of us to stay in that place of pain, to think about it nonstop and let it control us. We have to keep going on. We have to keep being obedient. We have to keep on in spite of what happened. Because even if we don't see it, that God's hand is on us and he's blessing everything that we do, other people can, and he can use that. And then when the time is right, because that's a lot of Joseph's story, the time was right at some point where God honored all those dreams that he had, where he, those prophecies came to fruition. There is going to come a time, I don't know when that is, you don't know when that is, there is going to come a time that if we're faithful in the things that are right. He didn't even know what God was calling to move to. He was just faithful in the things that were right, that God's going to use that. And that's a promise. God's going to use all things together for good to those that love him, to those that are the called according to his purpose. Keep going. Keep being obedient. And keep doing it all in spite of the hurt, the betrayal, the pain. Just keep on. Keep on. Be blessed.